Chief of Support, Command Sergeant Major Stegmeyer, contingent commanders, distinguished guests, fellow MFO teammates. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today on this very special occasion. Today is a day of mixed emotions for me as I say goodbye to one command team and their wonderful soldiers and welcome a new team to take the helm of 1SB. It's always hard for me to say farewell to those who I've grown fond of and who I respect so much for their selfless contributions, and yet I'm also excited for them as I know they're returning home to their families and their loved ones. I'm equally excited about welcoming the new team and eagerly anticipating the opportunity to work closely with them during my tenure here. Today we close another chapter in the 31-year history of the MFO as we pass the colors of 1SB from Lieutenant Colonel Herrera to Lieutenant Colonel Bunk. It seems like only yesterday when I passed the colors for the first time to Colonel Herrera, and yet it's been 9 months. Time seems to have flown by, well, at least for me. He may tell you something different. Over the past 9 months, the 1SB, guided by the very capable command team, Lieutenant Colonel Herrera and his great Sergeant Major, it has distinguished itself in what can only be described as one of the most challenging, fluid, and complex of environments. As I reflect, I'm amazed at how the environment has changed and how magnificently the 1st Support Battalion changed with it and performed its challenging mission despite the many obstacles that stood as impediments to success. I'm confident that neither they nor I expected to face barriers to mission accomplishment such as regular bedouin roadblocks along MSRs, a water shortage, protests, and yes, of course, the attack on North Camp on 14 September, which in my opinion drastically changed the operating environment here in the Sinai for the foreseeable future. Through it all, 1SB persevered, executing its mission with determination and grace. The unit proved itself flexible, professional, committed, and selfless. I'll never forget seeing 28 soldiers from 1SB standing in riot formation in full riot gear, practicing in preparation to thwart any incursion into North Camp from violent protesters. Certainly not something I would have anticipated seeing when I first took command of the task force. I'll never forget the way 1SB pulled together to evacuate Egyptian soldiers who were left wounded at our front gate, or the manner in which they conducted EOD ops, vet and preventive med support, brave dangerous roads to deliver supplies and mail, or the selfless and heroic manner in which they supported the force flying troop transport, medevac, or log support using fixed and rotary wing assets. I remember the manner in which our air crew conducted itself when the rotary system deteriorated in flight and how the battalion and in fact the entire force rallied to support the stricken aircraft and crew. I'm amazed when I think of all that the battalion has done to support the force, and I'm honored to have served with so many unsung heroes who selflessly gave of themselves to ensure mission accomplishment. This battalion, which consists of a mix of both active and reserve component soldiers, exemplified itself each and every day and represented themselves, their country, our Army, and their state in the most exemplary manner, exceeding every standard and demonstrating an unparalleled level of professionalism, commitment, and selflessness. Your ingenuity, perseverance, and commitment to both men, mission, regardless of nationality, willingness to put the needs of the force ahead of your own, and unique ability to serve not only as a team player but team builder has ensured your success here in the Sinai. You know, the MFO mission has remained fundamentally unchanged over the past 31 years, but what has changed is the operating environment, and therefore the manner in which we execute this challenging mission. Success here requires leaders who assume but mitigate risk, who are forward-thinking and can effectively anticipate requirements, and above all, it requires selfless leaders who genuinely care for the soldiers that they both command and serve. Louis, you and your team succeeded where others would have undoubtedly failed because you do represent these things. And when you all reflect on your service here, I hope you realize the tremendous contributions you have made to lasting peace here in the Sinai. And you realize the lasting impact you have had on everyone you touched. Your organization has performed superbly, and you all should be extremely proud of all that you've accomplished. I know that I am. Louis, thank you for your friendship and your leadership, and for taking such good care of the MFO team. You're without question one of the best officers with whom I've served, but you're an even better man. I'll most certainly miss our many conversations and your friendship. Godspeed and best of luck to you and your team in all future endeavors. You know, fortunately, our Army recognizes the importance of this mission, and it has sent Lieutenant Colonel Bunk and a talented and motivated group of sterling soldiers from North Carolina and Puerto Rico to carry us into the next chapter. Your reputation as a professional, committed, and extremely capable team has preceded you, and I'm already impressed by the manner in which your leaders and soldiers have embraced this mission and embraced your role as part of the MFO family. While you undoubtedly have some tough shoes to fill, I have no doubt you will continue the tradition of excellence established by your predecessors. Lieutenant Colonel Bunk, your team brings with it unique skill sets, which make you aptly suited to excel in this environment. We welcome you to the MFO team, and I personally look forward to working with each of you during my tenure here. And I'm confident that you too will excel and contribute immeasurably to the success we enjoy here in the Sinai. So welcome to our family, and welcome to our team. You know, last night I had the opportunity to speak with our commanding general, Major General Stein. He wanted me to extend his apologies for not being able to attend today's ceremonies because he really wanted to be here. And he asked me to personally thank and congratulate Louis, Lieutenant Colonel Herrera, and the Outbound 1SB team in its entirety for all that they have done. And he wanted me to extend his warmest welcome to Lieutenant Colonel Bunk and the new soldiers from North Carolina and Puerto Rico. He's grateful to have each of you as a member of the 1st TSC team. He looks forward to meeting and working with you over the next 9 months. I would be remiss if I closed without taking a moment to thank all the soldiers standing to your front. You look amazing today, as always. And I appreciate the professional manner in which you conducted yourselves during this ceremony, like I do every day. Aren't they something special? Please join me in a round of applause and recognition of not just what they've done, but what they will do to support our force. And finally, who could forget the Fiji Band, whose participation in today's ceremony brings such a touch of flair and class to what is most certainly a historic day in Task Force Sinai history. Thanks, team. I appreciate what you did today. Thanks again to all who attended today's ceremony. Best in the desert.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the outgoing 1st Support Battalion Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Luis E. Herrera.
Major General Whiting, Colonel Haycock, and most distinguished guests. Speaking for the soldiers in the 1st United States Army Support Battalion, we have been proud and honored to serve under such distinguished leadership. Looking around, I see representatives from all the other illustrious nations who have served arm in arm with my U.S. Army soldiers in promoting the peace and saving lives in the stark sands of the Sinai. Speaking for all my soldiers, this has been a most incredible learning experience. Over the past 9 months, we have learned to respect and admire people who represent totally different nationalities, experiences, and histories. We have not only learned to respect and admire them as outstanding military professionals, but to like them as people and friends. We have learned where there is an openness of heart, a friendliness of spirit, and a will to communicate, that language barriers are quickly breached. And finally, we have learned that when you share a common mission and depend on the military capabilities of those from other nations to protect your flank, the difference of their uniform and language become irrelevant. So we say to our allied compatriots, we thank you for your duty. We thank you for your friendship. And it has been a pleasure to share in this international service with you. Back in early August 2012, shortly after arriving in the Sinai and the night before I was to assume command, the entire base camp was awakened to the sounds of rockets. Since we arrived 9 months ago, we and our fellow peacekeepers shared a host of problems. Severe water restrictions, several mass casualty events, a near-fatal helicopter crash, which was only averted by the skilled pilot, and a host of threats by misled protesters. Throughout these events, we continued with our mission to serve and support the MFO operations The opportunity to serve among dedicated civilians, soldiers, and officers from the many nations will always be one of the highlights of our service. We will always remember those who have shared in our mission to preserve the peace. Our Dutch and Italian allies, our Canadian and Norwegian allies, our French and Uruguayan allies, our Colombian and Czech Republic allies, our Hungarian and New Zealand allies, our Fijian and our Australian allies, and of course, our U.S. Battalion in the South. We have been a team with common goals of preserving peace. Colonel Haycock, your leadership, your mentorship, and your example will serve me well for the rest of my life. You are a great leader, and I am proud to call you my friend. Colonel McClendon, your strategic vision in putting logistical support in the forefront of operations will serve the MFO for many years. You are one of the most humble leaders I have met and an inspiration to what I should become. To all those with whom we have served, we are blessed by the privilege of serving with the MFO, and our prayers will remain with you as you continue the mission of maintaining peace in this troubled region. To the incoming support battalion, commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Bunk, I promise you that your time here will fly by, and I have no doubt you will leave your command better than you received it. And I wish you success and a peaceful tour. And now to those whom we leave to stand the watch, to our brethren of many nations, we wish you peace. We wish you continued success in service. And we wish each of you a long, successful, and happy life. And speaking for every one of my soldiers who are preparing to go home to their families, we bid you a fond farewell. After 9 months of shoulder-to-shoulder duty, it's hard to say goodbye. But that is my job here today. And therefore, it is with both joy and sadness that I relinquished command of the 1st United States Army Support Battalion to Lieutenant Colonel Bunk and his soldiers from the North Carolina and Puerto Rico Army National Guard. May you enjoy a distinguished and safe tour as you keep the peace in this troubled land. God bless you, and God bless the MFO. Thank you.